Welcome back to Dramas and Pajamas. We're breaking down the finale of Taxi Driver 3. Back on the island, Rainbow Transport prepares to strike, knowing that this isn't just a scam ring anymore, but a fortress of organized crime cloaked in religion and law. Doji sneaks into the mountain temple and quickly realizes that it's not a place of worship at all. The lotus lamps don't hold prayers, they're records of scams. Even the little Buddha statues represent criminals who are about to be released or are already out of prison. They're recruiting these people. The temple head comes back and, tipped off by the suspicious photographer, calls the island police. Doji is handcuffed and questioned about why he's really there. Meanwhile, another cop takes John in a boat ride and he mysteriously disappears. Outside the island, Curly and Mushroom Head tail the photographer. They see him stealing lists of alcohol addicts and drug patients, then passing those names to the innkeeper. Later, he records license plates of cars fined for illegal parking. All of these people, addicts, debtors, careless drivers, are chosen as easy scam targets. That night, Curly, Mushroom Head, and Goen all get caught by the fishermen and locked inside a fish truck. The photographer plans to deal with them after he captures Doji. It seems like he is the head. At the temple, he invites Doji to eat, probing him with questions. Doji stays calm, pretending he wants to join the scam business, and even shares fake stories of sordid past. The details check out, so the photographer lowers his guard and offers Doji a spot in his franchise. They toast, and Doji's friends are released. Later, the team learns that the criminals are planning to dump them at sea so they would drift to North Korea, a trick that would erase all evidence. Just then, a man jumps out of the bushes. He's a journalist who's been hiding on the island for months. His partner was killed, but he stayed to keep investigating. The journalist explains ex-convicts with cybercrime records are sent to this island, trained, and then released to continue scamming abroad. The people here run a global fraud network with countless branches, yet they have never been investigated. Doji realizes why. He found a pen marked with Judicial Training Institute. That means former prosecutors are involved, using their knowledge of the law to shield the operation. The journalist begs Rainbow Transport for help, for his fallen colleague, and for all the victims. He needs them to bring this syndicate down. Inside the temple, the photographer, innkeeper, abbot, and corrupt cop gather to plan their next wave of scams. Some want Doji and his team eliminated, but the photographer insists that they could be useful, new franchise managers for the crime network. To test him, the abbot asks if Doji has enough money to invest. Calmly, Doji throws out a number, then cleverly dodges further suspicion by staging a phone call with Goyen, pretending that she's his dear and hinting that he won't trust the islanders with his money until they prove themselves. Later, the photographer takes Doji to the pier to meet new recruits. He uses this time to question Doji further, while a killer fisherman lurks behind him with a knife. But Doji flips the pressure back, boldly saying that only survivors of life and death trials deserve to restart here, and that is who he is. His confidence rattles the photographer, who apologizes and accepts him. When the guests arrive, one recognizes Doji's supposed connection to scammer Kim, but Doji smoothly covers, earning full trust. 3 new recruits attend the franchise seminar. One brings 10 billion won in cash, but the other 2 admit that they have nothing yet, and they will pay once they see profit. The innkeeper shuts down the deal. No money, no business. The 2 hot-headed youth threaten to expose the syndicate once they leave. Minutes later, the fisherman ambushes them and cuts them down. On this island, failing to pay means death. Goen digs deeper and uncovers the syndicate's roots. 7 years ago, the photographer was actually a prosecutor named Cole. He arrested a crooked pastor, then offered him a choice: prison or join his new company. The pastor became the temple abbot. Next, Cole recruited a female engineer from Korea's biggest gambling site, sparring her charges in exchange for her skills. She became the innkeeper, running the network and the surveillance. Adding a dirty cop and a mercenary fisherman, and the island transformed into a criminal hub. Curly fumes, wanting to wipe them out immediately. Doji holds him back. If they strike too soon, overseas branches will escape. The key is the island's hidden servers, which links the global scam network. Just then, the journalist who's been hiding for months reappears, showing footage of the innkeeper's men moving servers. They'll need special equipment to crack them, so Mushroom Head heads back to Seoul to fetch it. In the meantime, Doji, John, and Goen stalls for time. At the next seminar, they stage a fake argument. Doji says, let's start with phone scams. John pushes for gambling sites. Goen suggests splitting funds between electric fraud and betting. The quarrel convinces the photographers that they're greedy and divided. One by one, each secretly approach him and his team, asking for help to eliminate the others. The photographer shakes his head. These newcomers are nothing but a nest of vipers. After cracking the hidden servers, Rainbow Transport knows the syndicate is finished. But the criminals won't go quietly. Doji warns his team to stall for time while Goen completes the hack. Each member plays their role. Doji chats idly with the photographer in the taxi. John distracts the abbot with food and chatting, and Curly and Mushroom Head gamble with the innkeeper. Goen sneaks into the forbidden chamber, follows the smoke trail, and uncovers the server room. With Mushroom Head's equipment, she breaks down the firewall. The moment she signals success, Doji drops the act, ejects the photographer from his cab, and tells him he's off to see his deer. The team regroups, cash in hand, ready to leave. But danger strikes. Goen runs into the fisherman assassin. No one was keeping an eye out for him. He attacks with lethal precision, even throwing a poisoned needle. Doji arrives just in time, reverses the strike, and drives the needle into the killer himself. The syndicate realizes they have been tricked. Servers destroyed, police station burned, computers flooded. Furious, the photographer sounds the alarm. Gunfire erupts. The innkeeper, abbot, and corrupt cop chase Doji's taxi, ramming him toward a cliff. Bullets bounce off the reinforced glass, but the crashes grow heavier. At the brink of death, Doji remembers Mushroom Head's special modification to his taxi. He slams the button, electricity surges through the cab, unleashing a massive shockwave. The 3 enemy cars explode in flames. Doji's beloved model taxi is wrecked, but at least he survives. The photographer tries to escape by boat, vowing to rise again. Doji doesn't hesitate. One shot and the vessel explodes. Justice is served. The journalist publishes the evidence online, exposing the network to the world. At last, victims see the truth revealed. That night, Doji sits in his battered taxi, dragged along the road, still driving toward the next battlefield of justice. Soon after, a new passenger arrives, Sergeant Park, an old comrade from Doji's military days. Doji is overjoyed, even taking half a day off to catch up with him. But Park hasn't come just to reminisce. On the way, he shows Doji a petition and speaks of another comrade, Sena, who trained under the same special forces officer as them. Park delivers shocking news. Sena is dead. Doji, shaken, follows him to a memorial tower to pay respects. Memories flood back. The day he left the unit, his teammates promised to wait for him to come back. Now, faced with Sena's sudden death, Doji can't hold back his tears. But grief turns to resolve. Doji vows to uncover the truth behind Sena's death. The next mission isn't about strangers, it's about family, loyalty, and the bonds of soldiers who once swore to stand together. Doji's disappearance throws the Rainbow team into panic. He tosses his phone, cutting off contact, and for 2 weeks they fear the worst. Goen finally traces his taxi keys to a military camp, and the team infiltrates in disguise, Mushroom Head as a reluctant recruit, John as a fake officer, Curly bribing soldiers with snacks. Their cover nearly collapses, but just then Doji reappears, alive. He explains, to investigate Sena's death, he re-entered the army under the cover of an endangered bird survey. The upper ranks suspect him, especially the harsh colonel, who insisted that Sena was a traitor defecting to North Korea. That's why she died. Reports claim Sena abandoned her unit, drove weapons toward the northern border, and died in an explosion. Doji refuses to believe it. Together with Sergeant Park, he retraces Sena's final route. They find the training caves, weapons racks emptied, and a blocked path that forced Sena to detour to the border. At the border, Doji spots a bird's nest, a place Doji taught Sena once to serve as a safe hiding spot. Inside, they discover a hidden camera. The footage reveals everything. Sena recorded the truth of that day, knowing that if she fell, Doji would one day uncover it. Her words in the video prove she wasn't a traitor, she was framed. Sena's hidden footage revealed the truth. The colonel had planted explosive vests in the training camp, planning to wipe out his own soldiers and frame it as a border clash. Sena tried to save her comrades, but was killed and branded a traitor. Doji and Sergeant Park vow to avenge her. The Rainbow team infiltrates the base under cover of the bird survey, cutting power and hacking files. Goen uncovers chilling plans, another training exercise designed to end in mass death. The conspiracy isn't over, it's about to restart. Doji asks Goen to deliver Sena's camera evidence to the Military Human Rights Center, but assassins strike on her way. He saves Goen, yet the crucial device is stolen. The thief is revealed, Doji's former commander, a retired general now living as a civilian. Years ago, this man ordered Doji to sacrifice his unit, calling soldiers pigs and cattle meant to be slaughtered. Doji defied him then and was punished for it, and now the same cruelty resurfaces. The general, stripped of rank but still powerful, plots to use a staged border explosion to declare martial law. He drafts a letter to the nation, blaming North Korea and promising invasion. In truth, it's only a scheme to regain influence. At a secret dinner, the general hands notes to other senior officers, including the colonel who framed Sena. But Rainbow Transport is already inside. Goen, disguised as a waitress, steals the secret note. And the camera the general stole? It's been swapped out and is now recording the general's every word, capturing his plan in full detail. The syndicate's plot reaches its breaking point. Through the hidden camera, Goen and the team see the retired general contacting his allies, ordering them to eliminate the bird survey team. John analyzes the motive. It's simple but terrifying. Stage an explosion, blame North Korea, and spark war. From the hidden notes, Rainbow Transport learns the exact time and place of the next operation. That night, soldiers are ordered to wear so-called bulletproof vests at the training zone, unaware they're packed with explosive. Tanks line up, cannons aimed, and the countdown begins. The general waits eagerly for the blast that will ignite conflict. But when the order comes, nothing happens. Turns out the gunners are refusing to fire because they see civilians in the area. Non-military vehicles have driven into the zone, and the soldiers won't shoot at innocents. Furious, the general orders remote fire, but instead of shells, fireworks burst across the sky. The civilians are none other than the girl group Doji once saved, now performing for the troop alongside their fans. Music and cheers fill the battlefield, turning a death trap into a celebration. Every time the general presses the button, more fireworks explode, mocking his plan. Meanwhile, Sergeant Park leads loyal soldiers to arrest the officers involved. The colonel who framed Sena is dragged away. The general, enraged, tries to flee. Rainbow Transport gives chase. In the chaos, Goen's vehicle is overturned, leaving her injured, but Doji presses on. Cornered at the cliff, the general fires at him, snarling that soldiers are nothing but livestock to be slaughtered. Doji seizes the gun, locks the general in a deadly grip, and together they plunge into the abyss. The team watches in agony, hearts breaking as their leader disappears into the river below. Later, they reflect, even if fate hadn't brought them together at Rainbow Transport, destiny would have united them somewhere. On the road, in a restaurant, at work, their bond was inevitable. Time passes. A wealthy woman hires a killer to eliminate her sister in a family inheritance dispute. At the meeting spot, a taxi waits. Inside the warehouse, Curly and Mushroom Head craft ceramics. Goen digs into the woman's background. John is analyzing the case. And the killer who greets them? A man with scars across his chest, smiling slyly. It's Doji, alive, reborn, ready for the next mission. Taxi Driver 3 doesn't just end with explosions and conspiracies, it ties together every theme: corruption at the highest levels, the fragility of dreams, and the unbreakable bond of comradeship. From idol exploitation to military treason, Rainbow Transport proves that justice can be delayed but never denied. If you enjoyed this full recap, make sure to subscribe to Dramas in Pajamas, your hub for K-drama breakdowns, episode summaries, deep dive analysis, and trending drama news. Hit like, share with fellow fans, and check back often for more content. Justice rides on, and so do we. See you next time.